Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're all doing fabulous. Can't wait to dive into today's show where we're going to be talking about timeline and consciousness. It's something that I speak about often and I address particularly with clients that I'm working with, and sharing a lot of this information that I have accumulated throughout the years working with so many people, not only in the business world, but also for self-development, individual healing, couples, parenting. So kind of a little bit of everything with different kinds of populations, different types of groups. But today I wanted to start by giving somewhat of a definition of what I understand and what I can share with you today around timeline and what I mean when I'm saying timelines. And so think about the fact that the kind of reality you used to have in the past, right? What you were experiencing in the past is not the same reality that you're experiencing right now. Right? Because maybe back then you were the parent to small children, or maybe you were in college. Perhaps you were in a different relationship than you're in right now. And so that constitutes a different timeline. That's a different reality. It's almost like being in another dimension and in another space and time that you were experiencing life from what was happening at that particular time and in that moment, and experiencing it with the people that were in your life at that time. So a lot of times when we continue moving forward, things change, right? Your kids are older, you're not in that relationship anymore, you don't live in that city, you don't live in that house, you're not in college anymore, you're actually in your career. And so the timeline that you're in now is different than the timeline that you were in back then. So when you look at it from a place of choosing, right, this timeline, choosing this new reality, one of the ways that I would like to show it to you would probably be when you're in a crossroads in your life, right? So you have a decision to make, whether you're going to go for that job and that opportunity or not, right? You're going to go to the right or you're going to go to the left. And depending on that decision that you make, depending on whether you take the route to the right and take that job opportunity or you take the one on the left, that is going to create a new timeline. That is going to create a brand new reality for you, right? Because it's a new job, it's a new opportunity, maybe it's a new city, maybe you dress different, right? So a different wardrobe, different way of showing up. Maybe this one is more professional and you need to be suited up. Maybe it's not as perhaps how you were dressing before to go to work. So when you start to see that depending on the decision that you made opens up a new reality, a new dimension, a new timeline, that is that new reality that you are stepping into. And so to further on this conversation today, when you are happy with the decisions that you make and you feel that you've opened up the right opportunities, you're in the right place and time, you're in the right relationship, you're in the right city, and you did it from a place of being heart-centered, right? So this is my dream job, this is my dream city, I'm in my dream apartment, I'm in the perfect relationship with my partner, or I'm single for now and I feel free and I feel great. When you're coming from that place that is heart-centered, what you feel, then you can continue to propel and hold that vibration, right? Hold that frequency for yourself, that you are not only in that frequency, but that you are also sharing from that frequency, and you're going to connect to people that can also hold the frequency that you're in, right? So you're in this dream opportunity, and you're going to find people around you that are also very happy, very joyful, very excited, that they're in this opportunity, or they're living in the city, or they're in the right relationship, right? Because there's a frequency match, which, that I've mentioned before. So when you are building from this excitement and from this elevated frequency and vibration, You're going to magnetize people that are also in that energy. You're going to manifest being in relationships that fulfill you, and they're not dragging you down, or they're not too dense, or they're not pulling you into drama, right? And gossip, right? So this is where you are in charge of your reality. You are in charge of the timeline that you are living. Because there was that other opportunity, right? That you could have gone the other way and just taken the job. It's paying more money. I hate the job duties. I don't like where it's located. I don't like that I have to go into the office every day. I'm not happy in my relationship at home. And so you get to see that if you take that opportunity, or you make that decision to go to the left instead of to the right, then there's a brand new timeline, right? There's a whole new reality and dimension that is opening up for you. And it doesn't sound like it's something that you're doing because it's heart-centered. You're doing it more because it makes sense. And so in this duality of what makes sense and what is my heart's fulfilled opportunity, that's where you and all of us always have that decision to be made with ourselves. Is this going to build me up to feel better about myself so that I can continue to elevate and hold a high frequency and a high vibration, an energy of love, of joy, of excitement, so that I can continue to grow myself, right? Grow in my relationships, grow the relationship that I have with my partner, grow in my career, grow and maybe establish my own business one day? Or am I settling down or settling in and settling for what makes sense? And fortunately, but unfortunately, a lot of times we are thinking into these opportunities, it just makes sense. It's close to home. I'm probably going to stay in this place another year because, now my job is close by, even though I can't stand my place. Or I'm going to stay in that relationship, although I know it's toxic, but, I really don't have time right now to figure this out or to figure that person out, or I really don't want any drama in my life. I just want to get by. And so when you're hearing yourself having these conversations, you already know that you are misaligned, you're not holding the highest frequency, and you are actually settling to being mediocre or living a mediocre life or having a mediocre experience because there's no thrill in what makes sense, right? And I'm not saying to be reckless, right? Or just leave that job, just you hate it and you leave it and that's it. You're unemployed and you don't have money to pay your bills. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply asking you to step back and ask yourself, am I living the life of fulfillment and dreams come true, and seeing how and feeling, right, these elevated frequency emotions that excite me. I can't wait to go into work tomorrow. I can't wait to do that task. I can't wait to get home to my spouse or my partner. I can't wait for the next opportunity or the next task to come in, or whatever that is, right? Or are you just getting by and just seeing life from what makes sense and what everybody else does? It's mundane, it's boring, it's not exciting, but it's a job and it's a paycheck and I'm okay. And because typically when we're in that frequency of just getting by, we also have the tendency of numbing those emotions, right? Because if we're not going to confront them, because we know that if we look at that situation, we're going to have to deal with it, and we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to stir the pot. We don't want to create any ruckus, any chaos, any confusion, nothing right now, because it would unsettle you. Then there's probably some numbing happening, which could happen through addictions. And this could be through drugs, it could be through alcohol, it could be through addictive behaviors. I know for certain clients, I've worked with people in the past where gaming, whether it's gaming because they actually gamble or because they actually play games like games at home, like video games, right? They play video games. You'd be so surprised how many couples I've worked with that video games is the issue, is like not having limits to the video games or the gaming. And that creates a lot of distance within the couple. That creates a lot of dissonance in, being together and wanting to be together, or wanting the person to just leave them alone so that they can continue to play games. And literally, it's playing games, right? So when I'm bringing all of this up, it's to bring the awareness. If you are that person that feels that you are soothing yourself from not wanting to look at your life and not creating this new timeline, this new reality, and the reason why you're not dealing with it is because it seems like a lot more work, and so instead you're numbing yourself, because at some point that will catch up to you. You will find out, you will wake up one day right after, the day after, and realize, what am I doing to myself? What am I doing that this is not living? This is not exciting. This is not what I deserve, right? I want to have more in my life. I want to experience my life differently. And I know that we live in a society where alcohol, for example, is easy, right? It's everywhere. I know that even conferences, when I go to work conferences and it's the happy hour, right? Everybody is dying for the conference to be over so that the happy hour after 5 happens, right? And it's not one drink. It's, 1 drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks. By 9 o'clock, everybody is pretty much drunk, right? Got to call it what it is, and slurring. And at that point, you're not really having the most valuable conversations. And unfortunately, you probably won't even remember a lot of the conversations the day after, right? And so why I feel that it was so important for us to talk about all of this today is because the being unhappy with the life that you are creating and that you've created for yourself. And really the first point of all of this is taking responsibility. Yes, this is a life that I'm living because I've created the circumstances to be in this life like this, right? And then that's it, right? We don't have to, there's no questions, there's no judgment, there's no, you could have done it different or better. Like, who cares? Like, doesn't matter. This is what it is today. This is where I'm at. And how you can shift it and change it, first and foremost, is to have the awareness, right? Is to know this is what is going on. And asking yourself, are you that person that when you go to an event, you stand by the bar maybe way too long and are just numbing yourself, are just kind of just even, and it could even be the social anxiety. I know for a lot of people, just being in a group of people or in a community or in a conference, feels like a lot of stress, right? And so maybe there's other things that you can do to prepare yourself for the conference so that it's not consuming alcohol or smoking weed or whatever, or taking pills, whatever that is for you, so that you can be present with the conversations. And that means that maybe you don't have to stay there for 3 hours. Maybe you're only there for an hour, because that's as long as you can stay present without needing a drink. And start that way, right? So that you are allowing yourself to live out each experience, being present, holding a higher vibration. Because guess what? As much as, I know that alcohol and great wine and all of these things are promoted and weed is okay now and all of these things, the reality is that you're not clean and pure, right? Energetically, you're not. You've got synthetic consumption of something in your body. And with that said, you're not really holding the highest frequency for you. You're holding a getting by energy, a vibration that might be high, but it's not the highest frequency, because you're not allowing your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy field and your aura to all be integrated and feeling good at all levels, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like you're not aligned within yourself. So if you're not aligned within yourself, you know that you can't manifest what aligns to you. And so for many of you, when you're looking at, okay, I can manifest sometimes, but sometimes I don't manifest, and that in and out, up and down, this is precisely why. It's because you are not maintaining the frequency of manifestation all along. You're going in and out, right? One day you do good, and another day you're not so good. And when people call me and ask me, why do you think, I closed, 10 clients last week, and I closed one this week, and I'm having a lot of no-shows, but I'm having a lot of people that just don't want my product. And my first question is, do you feel aligned? Do you feel aligned? And how you know that you feel aligned is because you feel good. You feel that you're on point. You feel that you are exactly where you're supposed to be right here and right now. Doesn't mean you're not going somewhere else. On the contrary, because you know who you are and you know where you're at right now, you're going to know that you're ready for the next step. You're going to know that you're ready for the next opportunity. But if you're not knowing and uncertain and going in and out, you're going to meet people that are not certain whether they want to buy from you. They're not certain whether they want to take the call with you. They're not certain if you're the person that they want to continue a relationship with. They're not even sure if they want to continue having you as their employee, right? Because this is what you are projecting and putting out into the field. This is the timeline that you are in, and in your uncertainty, that is what you are displaying, and that's what other people are picking up from you and your energy. And so I know this is a lot, but it all makes sense when you put it all together, that if you're in the decisions that you're making them because it feels good. Not only, yes, of course, it needs to make sense, right? That's the thought, that's the mind. However, when you bring in the emotion, there's a level of excitement, there's a level of thrill, there's a level of, I'm ready for this, I want something new, my heart is in this. And think about athletes, right? The best athletes that we've heard, be interviewed, we hear them talking about playing with their heart. Like nobody's saying, I'm going to go play with my mind. Yes, you play with your mind. Of course, you need to be strategic, and that's how businesses run. That's how homes are run. That's how you show up in life, right? It needs to make sense. I need to be there at 9 a.m. I understand. Okay, I got that. However, the heart is really where it's at, because the heart is going to tell you and help you feel whether you belong there or it's time to go back to that decision making and say, you know what, this has served me up to now. This has been great, right? We always want to embrace with gratitude everything that we've lived, good, bad, and ugly, all of it. And I'm glad that I had this opportunity. However, I feel and I believe that I'm worth and worthy of something more. And in that worthy of something more, that high frequency, that higher vibration pulls you into a new timeline, a different reality, a different decision that is going to continue to help to expand what you're doing in whatever capacity, whether this is work and business, whether this is your relationship, your romantic relationships or your friendships or the people that you hang out with or the people that you travel with. And all of this starts to make sense because you understand your place in the world. And when you know that you belong somewhere, guess what? Confidence goes through the roof, right? Because now you're in the consciousness of confidence. Now you know that you're holding that confidence frequency, and this has been building up so that you can be here now and that you can continue in this life experiencing it from this place where you feel that you're winning, you're gaining, you're confident, you feel good, you're energized, you're elevated. And you're going to then continue to surround yourself and find people that are also holding this emotion, these thoughts, and they feel aligned. And so this is where good friendships, good relationships, good partnerships come together. because you having the first opportunity, the first responsibility is you. Are you aligned? Do you feel that you're aligned to the job that you're doing? Is it just a job? Is it just a paycheck? Yes. Okay. Then maybe that's not alignment, right? However, because I do coach and train people and teach that if you can connect how this job, this opportunity, how you serve others today, if this is coming from your heart, or you can link how your heart is in this job that you're just calling it's a job and it's my paycheck and this is what I do. If you can make that connection, you're going to have much higher levels of success. And this is falling in love with why you're doing what you do. If you're selling a product, then fall in love that you are sharing this product with other people. You've got to believe in the product first, though. I'm going to always pull you back to that. If you don't believe this is a good product, then you're in the wrong field. Find a product that you believe in, that when you start talking about it, you light up and people will buy from you. Because they can feel your excitement, your energy helps them want to buy from you, to build a relationship with you, to send their friends and family to you. So this is really you going into yourself and understanding that you have created this timeline. You have created this reality. And just like you created it, right? We go back to that crossroads. Am I going to the right or the left? Okay, I already tried the right. Let me go to the left, or let me find another opportunity. Where else could there be another opportunity for me to explore? And being curious and exploring what else is out there is so wonderful, because it could remind you that you're in the best opportunity, right? So it's a reminder that you're exactly where you belong. But it can also expand you to say, you know what, I've already been in this opportunity or in this job for a certain period of time. I'm ready for what's next, and let me explore what else is out there. I'm always going to encourage that if you're not 100% happy or not as fulfilled in your job, put your resume out there. There's no loss in putting your resume out there. Make sure that it's exactly what the resume is supposed to say and how it's supposed to be built out, and then send it out. Like, there's nothing to lose and only for you to gain more, right? Expansion, change. And I know that we don't like change. I know that, oh my gosh, change, like that's not a good thing, or it comes, with a lot of fear. However, transcending all of this and allowing yourself to I want another reality. I want to step into another timeline. I want to be in a timeline where I feel good. I want to feel that my life is more fulfilling than it has been, right? Maybe before you were raising children and now the kids are all grown up and now you have more time in your hands, right? You're not driving people back and forth to different activities or back to school or whatever those things are. And you have another opportunity to look at your life and rethink your life, and then pour in your heart and see what else is out there for you. So I hope that I've left you with a lot of information. I hope this is helpful. I know that this will touch at least one of you out there. I love to hear from you. Any comments, anything that you believe is going to help somebody else. If you feel like this resonated for you today, share with those that you love, and let's just continue to elevate each other and continue to grow this community, knowing that we are all here to serve each other and to make the best of each of our lives, and to continue to share our energy, our light, our love, and continue to help each other out so that we can continue to expand and be in the best timeline, dimension, and reality of our lives. With that, I'll leave you all. So happy to have you here, and see you at the next one.